Ladies and gentlemen, this is huge news. The pendulum is slowly swinging towards Trump Republicans. Thank God. We have a recession. We have geopolitical nightmares in Europe and in Asia. And we have not only a foreign policy that's horrendous and an economy that's in free fall. You might say, well, the jobs report. It took 2 years to get to the level of employment with Trump before Democrats gleefully tanked the U.S. economy because experts and bureaucrats and wonderful, morally superior, highly educated media and the smartest people in the room said completely tank the U.S. economy, but real wages are down 4.4%. Inflation is going to increase past 9.1%. We have 2 quarters of negative GDP, and that's only going to get worse. The third quarter is also going to contract. The economy will also contract in the third quarter. We're heading towards a devastating stock market crash. Interest rates are going up. Housing will crumble. Bond market will tank also. So I've been predicting all of this in September of 2021. Things will get a lot worse, unfortunately. But here we have investigations of people who actually committed crimes. So Hunter is seen within actual videos, actual text. His text messages, his voicemails, his emails show clear violations of the law. You'd have to read them in the New York Post. So if there's a wonderful, morally superior, highly educated Democrat that watches this and says, "Oh my God, oh H.A. Goodman, all because Bernie Sanders was cheated 6 years ago," it's like it's not just that. The epicenter of corruption is within the Democratic Party. That's why you get all these articles about Trump. The walls are closing in. He's going to get indicted. If they could, they would. Believe there's no James Comey, who is probably going to testify now against Hunter, and we'll get to that in a second. But there's no James Comey covering up Trump's crimes like he did with Clinton. So top secret intelligence on servers running outside of the United States government. How did that intel? Does James Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Peter Strzok, does Andrew McCabe know how top secret intelligence got on to Clinton servers from secure government locations? Nobody knows, apparently. So that's an actual crime. Comey covered up that crime, and he also, along with Christopher Wray, apparently covered up crimes pertaining to Hunter Biden. So they've been investigating Hunter, and they know his emails. They know, and the difference is that when they investigate Hunter or they investigate Hillary, they investigate for public relations purposes, just like with Trump, but for different, the opposite public relations objective. They want to say, well, we've investigated, but we haven't found a crime, or we haven't found intent to commit a crime, or we haven't found widespread crimes. They find crimes with Democrats. They don't indict. They don't find any crimes with Trump. They pretend they're going to indict. So that's the difference. But hit subscribe to this channel. I'll read you. I should have a live stream tonight at around 9:30 p.m., so be here. But here, House GOP leader McCarthy, Hunter Biden probe will expand to what Intel chiefs knew. Subscribe also to the Stock Market Crash channel and the Nuclear Confrontation channel. I have important segments on there today. The House probe of Hunter will expand to U.S. intelligence agencies and chiefs who were almost certainly aware of his shady foreign activities while his father was vice president. Now, Joe Biden, mashed potato brains, met with Hunter's business associates. Is that okay? I just want to know from the wonderful, morally superior Democrats who think that Trump is the epicenter of corruption because he threw his dinner at the wall, or he knew people were armed, but nobody was armed, and he knew people would infiltrate, but he never had any contact with any of the people he spoke to that day, which, by the way, was a terrible day, but so was $1 to $2 billion in property damage throughout that summer. Okay, the height of hypocrisy is this political amnesia where you forget an entire summer with 14,000 arrests and 19 lives lost, according to Wikipedia, and $1 to $2 billion in property damage. And again, I support the cause of why people demonstrated, but not the billions of dollars in property damage. And so could you imagine ignoring that and then focusing on one day and then talking about democracy and pontificating while you cheat Bernie Sanders every primary and you listen to CNN journalists in front of a building that's in flames right in front of the journalist, and he says, oh, it's fiery but mostly peaceful. But here, the House probe of Hunter will expand to U.S. intel agencies, according to the New York Post, and chiefs like James Comey, like Christopher Wray, like Clapper, like Brennan, like McCabe. who were almost certainly aware of his shady foreign activities while his father was vice president. So while his father was vice president, you're talking about James Comey. They should come in and talk to us. McCarthy said an exclusive sit down with the Post. You want to ask these individuals what did they know and when. Now, with James Comey, he was director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation while Joe was vice president, meeting with Hunter's business associates because he was selling out the country. So that's what they accused Trump of doing that, and Kushner. But Kushner's family had a $1.8 billion or so. They were billionaires before they made money in the White House. See, Joe and Hunter and James and all these people, the Biden family, they were not millionaires. They were in politics forever, but they were not millionaires. They suddenly became millionaires when Joe became vice president. How did that happen? The one response was, oh, well, he became a millionaire from his speaking engagements and his books. Have you heard him speak? I don't think so. Have you read a book from Joe Biden? No, you haven't. So this man has done everything. Like, if they accuse Trump of anything, he's done worse, much worse. They obsessed over the hot mic with Trump, and then Biden was accused. I mean, this man was actually accused of having done that exact, disgusting criminal thing. And so, but then media, he was actually accused, but then media just ignored it. And media just, not only ignored it, but made it seem like the person accusing him had the problems and not him. I mean, that's the height of hypocrisy. Then they fall back on, well, more people accuse Trump. It's like, well, yeah, do you think maybe there's a little bit of a political and media and public relations possibilities there? Okay, it's not, the calculus is not how many accused. It should be who is the most credible, not simply an accusation, not simply, oh, well, Kavanaugh did something, we don't know when. The accuser of mashed potato brains, actually, there's an actual call to Larry King Live from her mom, talking about a terrible incident between Joe Biden and one of his employees or one of his staffers. And so there's an actual call there where, you can't go back in time and have the woman's mother call Larry King Live. Okay, the person against Kavanaugh, none of the people against Trump have that. So it's like, again, credibility to Democrats is whoever is accusing a Republican. That's credible. That means credibility. It doesn't. Credibility is only given towards people who they find, politically helpful or expedient, or providing them political utility. But anyway, there, in terms of morality, you have zero basis to stand on if you are a wonderful, morally superior liberal Democrat. Zero. You have Hunter weighing narcotics, illegal narcotics in videos, doing a whole bunch of other things. You have Joe presiding over poverty, 15% poverty as opposed to 10% record low under Trump. So in terms of the economy, you have Pelosi basically expediting, or that invasion or blockade is going to happen sooner rather than later because Pelosi went to Taiwan. And you have a geopolitical nightmare taking place in Europe. But I mean, you have all of these people, when Trump says he's going to rid the country of Democratic Party loyalists, do you think these people are actually, there are people in government actually loyal to the Democratic Party? Actually, most of the government. We know this. That's why Comey went to bat for Clinton and said there's no intent. And by the way, I want a Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump 2024. I want a Clinton, Trump 20. We have to have that. And I think that's going to happen, actually. Hillary would be better than Biden, but then again, anyone would. And I think that obviously I'd vote for Trump 1,000,000 out of 1,000,000 times over Hillary. But anyway, I think she would lose. But here, the arrival of the U.S. political scene of emails purportedly belonging to Vice President Biden, much of it related to the time served on the board of an oil and gas company in a country being invaded now, has all the classic earmarks of an information campaign from the operation from the Kremlin. So the people who were compromised, ladies and gentlemen, with the Steele dossier through Hunter, all of these people, it's the Democratic Party. They accuse others of what they're guilty of. That's why all the money flows to, you don't have hundreds of millions of dollars flowing from businesses linked to Trump Republicans. You have hundreds of millions of dollars flowing into Foundation with Bill and Hillary, and hundreds of millions of dollars into Hunter's businesses. And the reason is not because they're wonderful human beings and it's altruistic. The reason is because the people giving the money want favors. Okay, that's why they want political, geopolitical favors, treatment, and they get it. Joe forced out a prosecutor. Why did he do so? It's not because the prosecutor was corrupt, because that is an internal the country, a country's government decides whether a prosecutor is corrupt or not a vice president whose son is on the board of directors of a seemingly corrupt energy company in that country. So we didn't know about Hunter's emails during impeachment, the first impeachment. It wouldn't be amazing if we did. Anyway, hit subscribe to this channel. Be back in a couple of hours. I'll have another upload. I should have a live stream tonight. And to my super thanks, thank you. I cannot thank you enough. I know there are people giving super thanks, and thank you so very much. If you want to support my work long term, my Patreon is below. That's the New York Post I read. James Comey will likely testify along with others within the Hunter probe. Thank you.